Welcome, everyone. This is Jim Sporer with ISSIP, and this is our quarterly ISSIP connection. Welcome to new participants. You'll discover ISSIP is a nice informal professional association, nonprofit and professional association, and we really like to um, get people introduced to each other, and we find these small new participant welcomes do the job. So thank you for joining. And the first part of this meeting, I'll turn it over to Michelle Carroll, who's our ISSIP Executive Director, in just a moment to tell you a little bit about ISSIP. But after Michelle's part, then I'll come back and I'll model what we do to try to introduce ourselves. I'll give a little introduction of myself, and I'll talk about the Give, Get, Grow of ISSIP, and I'll talk about why I joined ISSIP. And I'm one of the founding members of ISSIP, by the way. And what we found from our survey of ISSIP participants is a lot of the reasons why people join as participants is to grow their professional network. And so I am going to put my LinkedIn into the chat. If anybody is not connected to me on LinkedIn, please do send me a connection request and just say you are on the ISSIP Zoom. The other reason why people join is to give their time, enthusiasm, and expertise on collaborative projects. And we're going to hear from Alka, one of our ISSIP ambassadors, who leads our connection to responsible innovation, about a very cool initiative called Good Stuff Initiative, which is all about collaborative projects. So we'll have a great example of number 2 from Alka. And also, people join to get professional recognition. We do have an ISSIP digital certificate certification program, and people can post those on their LinkedIn profile. But first, since we do have some new ISSIP participants on the call, welcome to you. Feel free to put your name and your LinkedIn connection into the chat. Let me turn it over to our Executive Director, Michelle, to tell us about ISSIP.
Thank you, Jim. So this is, hopefully all of you have seen our website at some point. It's issip.org, so ISSIP.org. And when you go there, there will be information, drill down information as to who's involved and what exactly is happening. But broadly, this is our picture of, out to the world of why engage with us. What is ISSIP? And it's a global community. We'll look at the size in just a sec, but through the community and through you that are a part of the global community, we all gain access, insights, mentoring, and connection with the world leaders in service innovation. And if you have works or events you want promoted, an initiative that you're driving in service innovation, something aligned to ISSIP's mission to advance service innovation to benefit people, business, society, ISSIP is the platform that can help you, leverage our programs to amplify your message and scale the effort, reach our couple thousand people and their networks. And we have these broad areas of activity. There's a leader and an operations team in each. Would you back up, Jim?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I usually am better at coordinating my presentation stuff than this.
No worries. So basically there are events, there are the regular annual awards and credentials that you can earn for contributing, publishing. There's free editorial guidance to write a chapter or a book in either one of our collections. There's 100 now, I think, or 92 ambassadors liaising out to other organizations, peer-to-peer, and the academic industry collab with students delving into projects with mentoring by ISSIP leadership that Jim mentors weekly, and many participate in that. So those are the broad programs. And if you click at ISSIP.org, you can dig into any one of those if you're interested in volunteering or getting involved or using them to promote your own work. The next slide shows you, I think, how big we've grown to, up several hundred, 400 in the last couple of years. So a diverse and growing community. We're now almost 2,000 people with 600 organizations, a couple hundred universities, We're headquartered in Silicon Valley, but are about half and half in the US and outside the US, all committed to that mission of advancing innovation to make the world a better place, benefit people, business, and society. I think that's all I'm sharing. Let's see the next slide. Is that right?
Well, I see the why engage and
Yeah,
oops,
so, okay, a little
and then,
duplicate. And then how you can engage, that next slide.
okay.
Some specific things to do. And actually, if you go, we'll just copy all these links into the chat for you. But if you're not already, join by registering in the global community at, on the website at this link. You can volunteer to lead or succeed a leader or be on a team in any one of those areas or another. Follow us. There are two. There's the company page, and then there's the group page. And the group page will be where some of the conversation before we started this official meeting, if you have an initiative, an effort, a symposium you want to run, the ISSIP group, private group on LinkedIn, click here to join it, and that would be where to share that and get the word cooking about what you're leading. You register on our site for upcoming events, ISSIP.org, click on events, and please do subscribe to the newsletters. There's a lot going on, so you can subscribe to the monthly digest and have a good picture of what's coming up. And there's always our YouTube and SlideShare channels to immerse in any topic. And that's it for basic intro.
Thank you, Michelle Carroll. And maybe, Michelle, you can put your LinkedIn into the chat so anybody that would like to connect with you can.
Will
And
do.
I will now model, and then Vaishali, who's our lead for these quarterly welcomes, will model how we introduce ourselves. Just take a few minutes to introduce ourselves, and I'll go down through everybody that's on the call, and they'll have a chance to introduce themselves. So I'm one of the founders of ISSIP. I'm a retired IBMer. I retired 3 years ago from IBM, and IBM helped start ISSIP in 2012. So I've been working with ISSIP for 12 years. I'm on the board of directors. I am currently working on a very exciting project, mentoring students from about 7 universities to automate parts of the back end of ISSIP using generative AI. If anybody's interested in that, happy to share more information about that. But one of the biggest problems you can imagine in an online community is onboarding volunteers. A lot of people want to volunteer, but as Michelle and myself and Vaishali know, it could take hours and hours and hours of conversations before we get volunteers up to speed. And sometimes just as we get the volunteer up to speed and they're doing a great job, they get a promotion and they get too busy, or they're a student and they graduate and go on to something else. So really this thing that I'm trying to give right now is really to help ISSIP onboard volunteers better. And the thing I get is just the joy of watching people. After 12 years, I've seen people come in as students, and now they're, vice presidents in companies leading innovation in all kinds of ways. So it's just wonderful to watch people's careers take off. And I'm also seeing people join me in retirement and still stay active through these online communities and mentoring. And the way I'm trying to grow, and I know this may sound strange, but I'm building a digital twin of myself. And that digital twin, I've written a lot of publications over the years, will be able to give a talk that I might give and answer questions that people might have about papers that I've written. So very excited about staying part of ISSIP. And I'm going to admit we just got another participant joining, and Antonio, thanks for joining. You missed the introduction, but you're going to hear Vaishali introduce herself next. And Vaishali is our lead on these quarterly welcome calls. So Vaishali, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jim, and good evening to everyone. I think most of the people from the West Coast have joined. This is the best time. Yeah, thanks for making it for this evening. So I've been part of ISSIP for some time now. Thanks to Jim and Michelle for giving me this opportunity to be participating and forming the Give, Get, Grow community out here. And we have this quarterly meets. Every time we meet, we still feel like it's the very first time. I've done my master's from IIT Chennai, and I've been in India with IBM for almost a decade. That's when I was introduced to Jim, and I know him since then, been on and off for a while. We've come back together for ISSIP. That's the connecting point. And in the US, I've worked in the banking and financial sector, currently working as a product analyst with a Medicare consulting company. As part of this, I think the theme here is to build a community. Every person has something to give, something to offer. Although sometimes we may not agree, we may feel, oh, you know what, this is all that I know. This is the only thing that I know. But there could be something that is useful to someone, even if it's not a very formal kind of study or formal like experiences that you have. You still have something to share and something that somebody may be interested in, would like it, and this is where we come together, connect, and we help people grow. So that's why we say give. So give and share what you have. You also could get something in return. You learn, you build communities, you build relationships, you build innovation at different scale. And the way I'm seeing things, every time we meet here, there's something so interesting about the groups that we meet. And then for me, here give is to lend a pair of ears, because there's so much happening. There's so much noise. There has to be a time when someone has to listen. And I could be the person you can come over and ask for things or listening. I hope I have good listening skills. Yeah, and if not, I'm still building on that. And the get is to learn the art of building the global community, because we meet people from different walks of life. This morning we had someone, I think he had logged in from somewhere in Europe, and someone from some other places. So we do hear a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that connect us together. It's technology. Now there's AI. AI is everywhere. Every child knows about it. I think the first word that a child says when they are born may be AI at this stage. So it's growing at that pace just in the past couple of months. It's nice to see the tremendous growth that we have in very little time. It's been very, very big. So, and then growing the give, get, grow community part of ISSIP, that's what interests me the most. And I think I'm learning a lot more than I thought I would. And it's always a lot of learning here. So I think I would pass it over to Michelle if you have a slide. And for anything, feel free to reach out to Jim, Michelle, and myself. And we are more than happy to connect you with someone who has similar skills or has something that's in common. Jim, do you want to go over to Michelle? Does she have her slide? Or?
I'll give you my quick give, get, grow. So to give would be my marketing expertise. That's what I do. And what I really enjoy getting from ISSIP is just this connection with good people that really care and want to make a difference. And then I see that as how I personally want to grow, is in learning. These are people dealing with some of the thorniest and most important problems facing us. And it's an exciting organization to be part of, to help it grow while learning myself. With that, this is that reminder. Do we want to kind of hear from other people before we? I put this in the chat, all the ways you can connect. If anyone had joined us after I mentioned it, here's in the chat, you'll see these links to officially sign up as a participant in the global community, and follow us on LinkedIn. Join the private LinkedIn group to post your own information and surveys and questions and engage. Subscribe to the news. Many ways there.
Great. Thanks. All right. I see, Aditya, you have your camera on. So please introduce yourself, and we'd love to try to connect with you on LinkedIn if we're not already connected with you. So over to you, Aditya.
Well, thanks for giving me a chance. I would like to thank everyone. Thank you, Jim, for starting this community. I was really I got a reference from about ISSIP from one of my friends. So that's how I landed up over here, and I just signed up. I'm just looking to kind of build connections over here. He gave some good words about ISSIP, and he was he mentioned uh, uh, like the different types of people and the connections which I can build. So that is what I am over here for. I would like to give in the get, give, and grow, I would say that I'm here to kind of share my thoughts around, listen to people who are here and give my experience. I would like to build a network over here. That is what I like to get, and publish articles, and then get more professional experience, and also grow with that. So that's me. Uh, as far as my professional experience is concerned, I have been in US for almost around like 13 years now. I work in Splunk, which is recently acquired by Cisco. Before that, I was working in Apple and then Yahoo. So I have almost experience of like 15 years in technology sector, and I have did my masters from NYU in US, and before that, I graduated from VIT University in India. So yeah, so I'm here to kind of gain experience and share my knowledge with everyone.
Wonderful. Thanks, Aditya. And I just
Thank you.
connected with you on LinkedIn, so I'm excited about that.
Thank
And
you, Jim.
let's ask Sid next. I also just connected with Sid on LinkedIn. So Sid, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. This is Siddharth here. I go by Sid. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I came to know about this community again through a friend, Rahul Vishwakarma, and he told about the community and the work that is done here. So I was kind of interested. I also do some kind of other volunteering with some other organizations. So I wanted to see how this organization is working and what is the scope in terms of, like, as you said, even doing like projects and those kind of things. My focus right now is more in healthcare, but my background has been in technology in terms of audio products for 7, 8 years. And then more recently, as I said, I've been working in healthcare, especially for glucose monitoring, CGM systems for 5 years.
Nice.
And I have a master's from UT Dallas.
Fantastic. Well, it's really nice to meet you, Sid. And thanks, tip of the hat to Rahul. He's actually helped us recruit a number of new participants who start getting involved little by little, maybe writing a blog post and getting that picked up by Michelle in the newsletter. And then eventually some become ISSIP ambassadors and do more things. And Rahul is one of our ISSIP ambassadors who's really helping a lot of people learn about AI in a great way. So so welcome, Sid.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go to Antonio next. Antonio, you're down in San Diego, I believe. Do you want to introduce yourself? It's optional, but you. Well,
Wait a minute. Okay, there you go. Yes, hi, this is Antonio. So I'm down here in San Diego. I work for University of San Diego. I work in the business school for the Adler Center for International Business. So I came to ISSIP sort of a roundabout way. I was always in law. So I was in legal education. I did my law in the Philippines, went to Japan for my undergrad and for my master's of law. And I was teaching in Japan for about 15 years, doing internet law, technology law, those sort of things.
wow.
And for that one, I was quite interested, and that's why I came to the AI and democracy. I thought it was interesting. But now I'm in San Diego because my wife is in biotech. So we follow the big box, so we landed here, and I was supposed to find something to do here. Unfortunately, international law does not really translate well in the US. In the US, international law is American law. So it kind of sucks, but that's how it is. So I'm now transitioning to the business side, and we are creating this. I'm working now for a center, which is transitioning from a student support center into a research institute. And so we have lots of big plans. And one of the things that we're really looking at is doing a lot more things with the industry. So if you're thinking about San Diego, we're looking at biotech, we're looking at innovation, chips industry, we're talking about defense. and a lot of software as well in the past few years. So that's why I was very interested. I guess AI and democracy sort of brought me into this group, and talking with Jim sort of made me realize that this group has a lot more things to offer than just, you know, like AI and democracy. That was just like a very small minor scrap in the whole thing. And so I want to learn. I guess what I want to get is I want to get knowledge. Again, it's a roundabout from law to business, but now I'm focusing on technology. So it's quite interesting. I always want to learn, and what I can offer, I don't know. We'll see. I'm very open to everything and anything, and I hope I could be a productive member of this very interesting group that I'm with now. Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'll just mention that, you know, ISSIP does a really good job of balancing academics and industry. We do a very good job of balancing that. We do a pretty good job of in US, out of the US. I think we're maybe 2/3 in the US, 1/3 outside of the US. So maybe we could do a little bit better on that global balance for sure. But our last two, before our current president, the previous two presidents were from Canada. So that's outside the US. And we have had a president, an ISSIP president from Germany and Switzerland. So as far as representation of our presidents, we've done a pretty good job. Yeah, getting these balances right so that people can build not just a bigger network, but let's say you build a network and it's just all technology people, you know, technology people. Well, that's okay if that's all you want to do. But at ISSIP, we like to get people to build industry academic networks inside US, outside US networks, and also networks that deal with the three parts of service innovation. Certainly the technology part is driving a lot of the innovation, but there's also the business model. So we have a lot of marketing people. Michelle started her own marketing company, but we have a lot of marketing scholars in our events as well, and a management business school. And we even have, and this is my lead into Alka, we even have people who think about, and this connects back to you, Antonio, with the law and institutions, is people think about responsible innovation. What does that mean to responsibly innovate? Because we know all technologies can be used by good actors and bad actors for good purposes and bad purposes. So it's very, very important to have technologists, business people, and social scientists in your network, and legal is part of that.
Yeah, totally. Like what we're doing actually right now is we're focusing on innovation, entrepreneurship, but the effect of entrepreneurship to society. So, you know, like I come from again, from the legal background, people, we tend to like, oh, you can't do this because of the law. But like, and then you have technologists like push the limits, and it's been an eye-opener for me, and I'm really enjoying the ride.
Oh, wonderful. We should probably do an event on that, Antonio, or get you interviewed, because there's so much to say there. But I want to hear from Alka. So Alka, could you tell us a little bit about your very special project? And I'll make sure that we get the link into the chat again so people can do that. But over to you, Alka. Good to see you.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So I didn't have the slide, but what I do have is a visual, because I'm a visual person. So I may be saying all kinds of stuff, but I do want to anchor. So I don't know if I have sharing capability, but I can just show you all just, you know, like on the website, like where to access these things. So if that works for you.
Yeah, it should
Okay.
have some capability in case you do want to use it.
All right. Okay. So before we get to that and I start showing you things, thank you for inviting me or letting me come to this meeting. I've known Jim before he retired and we worked on the Linux Foundation's Trusted AI Committee. And my background is also more mainstream. I worked at the Innovation Center in Palo Alto. And my job there was to come up with business cases around and spur research that was academic, industry as well as startup community around 5G, AI, Edge. And I have a course on Linux Foundation around 5G, Edge AI, because everybody keeps talking about AI as if it just dangles out of somewhere. But what enabled it was this Uber connection, Uber data, amazing processors. And when people build AI tools, they don't ask for permission. They don't say, I don't know art. I don't know writing. You know, they go to every place. But for some reason, we have really hard time bringing people with different skills and disciplines, as Jim was talking about, over to this side of tech, because people get intimidated by tech. So one of the things I've been trying to explore with this responsible innovation project that Jim has kind of been part of, it's a nebulous kind of thing. And we also have an RI Labs. So Antonio, we'd love to talk to you about those things. And, you know, what does that really mean? Because we're not really interested in just using some ESG, CSG, just terminology for its sake. But if you use those metrics to actually move the needle and have an impact, all the way from the conception of project through the development of it. We're really interested in the makers as well as not just the governance part. And the reason for it is I started this because I was sitting in so many rooms building smart cities and, you know, tech for entertainment and building movies, our future, you know, ways that we will communicate and all of these places, large scale, small scale. Mostly everybody in the room was engineers or business people or tech folks. And we didn't have the voice of somebody saying, well, how will that impact our community? Could we design this with better environmental impact? And it's really not just a nice thing to do. You know, we've noticed that it actually is any new thing we build for our communities, those are the requirements. We just don't have that discipline. We just don't have that set of understanding that you enter a space, if you design things for children, if you, in a physical space, we wouldn't be allowed to design a space for children without taking into certain considerations into effect. But in a digital space, there is no protection for that or practice of it. So, you know, we're looking at it in that way. And the only way to do that is to involve a larger community. So for a long time, it was just, first, people didn't think we were needed. Then it became very fashionable to just bash everyone who was doing tech or fearmonger or whatever. So what we want to do is shift things to something more practice-based, which is to say, hey, there's a lot of people doing some really good stuff. They're making good things. They're making very mindful things. There's organizations like ISSIP that have initiatives. How do we shift our attention to all the good stuff and change the narrative, but also the definition of what success with technology ought to look like? Because even though when we complain, if you say, oh, who's successful? There's this handful of companies that we think of, and none of them are really doing things that well when it comes to social and environmental constraints or considerations. So we're like all techies who think like, maybe we need to change the rules a little bit. So I wanted to invite you all to come be a part of it. And Jim and I have been talking about it. I think this is just a beginning. Can you see the screen? So I'll put the URL in here, but we just put it on our website. And if you click this nominate here button, it will take you to this good stuff nomination page. Can you see when I switch from the screen? Can everybody see that?
We could see the form.
Okay, so is there a nomination page on while I'm looking at it?
Yes, the form is on. Yeah.
So this nomination is where I'm inviting the ISSIP members to come and let us know who you are, what you're doing, or what kind of good stuff you like. And the category for these nominations could be a content, it could be art, it could be blogs, articles, it could be courses, it could be papers that you've written. And I know there are a lot of writers here, so it could be your books. It could be events you're planning. It could be initiatives. So if you have a funding initiative, if you have a research initiative, where you're maybe studying the impact to a certain community, or you're trying to figure out how you design complex systems with less, energy impacts. Those would be things we want to know about, and also others to know about. It could be organizations, policy, features, and other stuff we haven't thought about. So we just had a nomination from Barcelona about this really cool initiative where people are using, like, I don't know if you've heard of Story Labs, where you do historical preservation of stories and cultures we don't usually know about, or different languages. This group is using technology to kind of visualize these stories, to help us visualize these stories. So that's a really, really cool nomination. And one thing I wanted to show you is it's a very simple nomination, because we're not trying to make anything complicated. We ask a very strategic question. This was designed with a few researchers, but it's really simple. And then this particular workplace that we use for ranking your nomination, which intimidates a few people, it's optional. You can pick the categories that actually apply to what you're nominating. So accountability and oversight is an appropriate use of tech. If it doesn't apply to your nomination, you can leave it. That's your choice. So that's really it. It's a really simple one-pager nomination. And if you have questions about it, there's a link on our site, and I'll pop in our, it's just responsibleproject.com site. It has all the facts. So if you have more questions and you like to know more, you have that as well. So if you hop into, I'll just drop this link. I have the link in here for the nomination and fact page 2, whichever is easy for you. You can do that. And, my hope is that from the ones we nominate, we can invite those people to come be part of a symposium, to talk, or to be in a roundtable, to gather together, and have ISSIP as one of the key organizations that helps us do that. We've been thinking about doing it face-to-face here. Jim and I have been talking about this computer history museum. I don't know. I just feel like we should do something there, because there's so much history that's captured there. But also do something online for our European and Asian and African and Latin American participants. So those are the two things we're thinking about. But I just want to let you know, it's a community crowdsourced project. So if you drop a note and say, I'm excited about this project, I really want to do this for this project, we're open to that as well. Right now, we have 6 key people who are involved in it. And one person got so excited that they just came in and they said, I have so many nominations, I can't fill out 1 or 2. So we had a meeting and I took multiple nominations from them and just put them in a sheet. So the purpose isn't necessarily to give big awards here. Right now, first thing is to recognize and connect the community. So if someone's doing a project that needs funding and there are funders out there that are looking for that project, this could be a great matchmaking. So going back to Jim and ISSIP's thing about give, get, and grow, this is definitely a place to be recognized. This is a place to engage as a community. And we're very, very also ambitious about the technology. So we don't think that just because, you have some good intentions that you can skimp on the technology or the quality of your work or performance of your work. We've done projects around benchmarking and things like that. So what I'm saying is that we want to invite people who are thinking ambitiously to say that there's a different way to be successful, and we can collectively change that narrative, because when enough people are doing things differently, it just becomes normal. It becomes just the way to do. So it takes away the cognitive load. And also, I just don't enjoy complaining without solutioning. So it allows us to direct, for the neuroscientists out there, it allows us to direct our energy to something constructive. And so we feel hope and excitement for our future. I don't know if that help or any questions, Jim and others.
That was great. I'm typing in the chat some stuff that you just said. So yeah, wow. Such a great collaboration opportunity. And for the new participants, Aditya, Sid, and Antonio, Alka has been working with us for a little while, and you can see it just kind of builds slowly, but we get good things going if we start interacting, trusting each other, thinking together, building bigger ideas. But yeah, I think this one is really, really good, Alka. And I like how you phrased it so well. I mean, gosh, just the wording of how you said certain things is that could become part of the practice, is saying things in those positive, future directed ways. It was really quite good.
Well, interesting that you're saying that. We can talk about the AI lab too. When we were running the leadership program, we were sitting with CTOs and CFOs, and everybody kept thinking it was going to be something technical, some researcher with this amazing research. But often what affected the most change was how you frame something, but how strongly you believed in the framing. So even though I know that we have ChatGPT, writing a note to your daughter through ChatGPT, like once they find out that there's just certain things that, your own conviction cannot be replaced by things. But I know but if there are language researchers out there, you know what I mean? It's really, really important. So we sit in front of someone and someone says, why should I fund this? This is going to take me 3 more weeks to put these accessibility metrics, capabilities and features. Then we say, okay, would you like to shave off 2 weeks from this project and, $100,000 so that this percentage of people can then not access this product? Or would you like to take 2 more weeks and spend $100,000 more, and you have this percentage of people worldwide who can access your product? You decide, and it really changes the way people make decisions. So they may not respond to responsible innovation or ESG, or they may not care about like even AI democracy. But when you frame it to what's at stake for them in their language, like to your point of being multidisciplinary, understanding marketing, it really changes the outcome.
And this is why I'm so excited about the possibility of exploring this with digital twins, because our digital twins could have like 1 million conversations and find just the right wording that expresses what we want to express to each other. Now, I know there's a lot of potential harms with digital twins too, so we got to take that.
I was going to say, I have a case study on digital twin that's sitting on Linux Foundation. So I would love to have that conversation with you. And there's 3 articles that came out recently, one of them by a key generative AI researchers, on why he's asking some pausing and restraint and all this imaging people are doing. A lot of people come to me and say, a lot of audio engineers, they're like, I have all these recordings of me. Can I create another one of me? And I say, well, before we start cloning ourselves, just pause for a minute, we might not be ready for that. So it might be a really cool thing, Jim, to have a session on digital twin. And we can kind of walk through some of these things about, we can understand the excitement of it, and then where some restraint might be really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And all my writing has never, no way, maybe. It explores the space. And the next generation has arrived. So I did put a little thing in Harvard Business Review that one of our other ambassadors just sent me about digital twins can help make better decisions. So yeah, this is a really exciting area. We definitely want to help you, Alka, help work together, collaborate to get this good stuff project going. And thank you for those links.
And I'm just wondering, before I close, is there anyone where a project is popping up for you? Like, should I was hoping like we could get this ISSIP community and this good work they do, including Vaishali, Michelle, and Jim, an initiative that you're doing with ISSIP, maybe the AI Collab Lab, or something that might be really great to nominate there. As I mentioned, like say, Antonio, like, I don't know if you're doing anything on AI democracy or you just attended it. I may have missed that. But I don't know if you've done your research on, I know healthcare said they have a lot of room and potential for, nominations of where people are really trying. And what we're looking for both is where they use it, because a lot of people come in and say, I'm going to solve cancer with AI. That's really was place everybody started with. And so give me all your data and I don't care, it's kids' data, So we were just saying, okay, yeah, fine, your outcome matters, but also the process matters. And so we want to highlight those projects and those initiatives, or even papers. Like if you read an article, like Jim, I think you and I should sit down and you could probably help me populate a big list as well. And so I'm going to do that with you that I did with someone else. I just, in half an hour, then they gave me like, I don't know how many. So, but I really encourage you to not just high five your work, but your community's work. So Aditya, I don't know, like if you know of other folks as well who are doing good work. This is a great way for you to just, even if you all say, I don't know all the other details, but here's their name and here's some information. Can you help me with a nomination? I'll be happy to do it.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Alka. That's really an exciting initiative. And it's wonderful to meet you, Aditya, Sid, and Antonio. Thanks for joining us. We find these new participant welcomes, especially when they stay relatively small like this, we start to get a sense of who each other are, and definitely look forward to future interactions with you all. Anyone else with any questions or comments? Can be to Alka or to anyone else on the call.
I have a question for Alka. Hi, Alka.
Hi.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Yeah, I think I just heard of this nomination and the good stuff right now, and it's coming too close because 15th October is like just around the corner. So
Yes.
maybe it's still new, but I can go ahead, read, and if I have questions, I'll come back. If you could drop, those who are comfortable, if you could drop your LinkedIn pages here, that would be nice, so we can connect there and then find out a little bit more. I don't know, I'm not much into that stuff yet, but yeah, maybe it's just still a thought, right? So you're thinking about things, and
Yeah, I'll drop my LinkedIn here, and just to let you know, I think we're going to probably extend the date. There was a lot of questions about, and Jim was involved in that. It's like, how much how much time do we give people? Elections are coming. So one of the things we realize is that everybody who was nominated so far has sent a note asking, are you going to host an event? Are you going to host an event? So I think we're going to host an event. And so I'm talking to some people tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to reach out to Jim and Vishali, Michelle, and everybody else. You're all part of organizations. We would love to be part of it. And the way we're thinking about it is it would be I don't know if any of you attended our roundtable before, but the event won't be just one way where one person presents and everyone sort of ingests, but everybody will get to participate, because we find often that people who attend these things have as much to say, and they leave to just have to fend for themselves in these meetings. So we would probably have a format of a roundtable and exchange, and yet you get to hear from a few people who have really dived deep into their areas. And we're hoping some of those will be the people who are nominated. So even if you don't think you are ready for a nomination yet, or that you want to nominate your project, if you're really interested in an area and you said, I really want to hear this person speak, one thing we invite people, they usually show up. So if there are people you want to hear speak, we can just invite them. If you want to be the one speaking, but in a group of people, we can have you run some of the roundtable in that area. So there are just so many ways to engage, since especially I haven't gotten a confirmation, but from the nods, Jim and ISSIP probably will be engaged. So you can do it through both the ISSIP membership and, you know, become part of this larger nebulous fluid community of people that we call Responsible Innovation Project. So it's not as formalized as ISSIP, but it's more a collection of researchers and industry leaders who are committed to this, making things with values. So anyway, so I would really encourage you to either reach out to Jim if you feel more comfortable, or to me, and let me know if you are interested in doing something for that collaborative event. Yeah, Aditya.
Hey, Alka. So one question I had was, thank you for all the information. This is really great. One thing, uh, if there is a project which like I'm working on my side, it's not ready yet, but there is an idea which I'm kind of formalizing and writing a article on it, and I want to kind of share that in the project, but it's not kind of ready. Is there a level of maturity which is needed for the project to be shared, or like
Well,
yeah.
for the good stuff, it isn't. There's an artist who was just nominated, who's just does stuff on the side himself, and he's like, "Oh, this is just a small thing," and he's like, I mean, it's amazing, you know, to us. So sometimes it's also, there's two things. It's good stuff. So we haven't defined good, but we have put some criteria around it to give a common place. But if you find that it's helpful and it helps you in getting engaged, you know, keeping engaged in your work, so many other people will love to hear about it, but also see that somebody, you know, you have a job, but you find these other things to do to serve the whole of you, which
Yes.
is one of the reasons I think Jim has created this space. And I think Good Stuff Project is important. Too often we are just working in a place that doesn't fully comprehend us or give us room to grow or shine. So we work on these other projects, or maybe the place we're working isn't ready for certain aspects that we want to just try out. These communities, like the Responsible Innovation Project, Good Stuff, ISSIP, are the places to come in and, you know, experiment as adults, play. I call it, you know, play, and keep all sides of us sort of working. So I would say, please nominate. If we have questions, we'll reach out to you. Again, there might be a few projects that our core group will, like the editors will curate and like highlight, but every nomination will still be listed.
Okay. So thank you,
If you have
Alka.
questions, nominate it. If we think it doesn't qualify, we'll let you know. But you know, most of it so far, every big and small.
Okay. Thank you, Alka.
Fantastic. All right. Well, great session as always. Fascinating. I learned a lot, and let's you know, look for future opportunities. I think this you know, Good Stuff project is a great one for uncovering future collaboration possibilities. And there's Alka's LinkedIn in the chat.
Oh,
And
thank you. And here's my email. I know some people have asked me. I thought I did share, but I wasn't monitoring. But here's my email as well. Find me LinkedIn. I'm alive on it again. And again, reach out to Jim as well. Like he's on my text. So we reach, but I really, really hope you all will enjoy. I love the energy here. Antonio, just when you were talking, like between all of you, Aditya, Sid, and Antonio, we've got the legal, the healthcare, well, audio engineering, I heard. So sound stuff, which is so important with the stuff that's being developed right now, with conversational and sound, you know, like people had given up on analog and it's become interesting as well. And Aditya, I can't wait to see. I don't know what you're doing with Splunk. Can't wait to learn more about your project too.
cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely be on a lookout. It's interesting because we're now working with Japanese conglomerate because they want to be part of the San Diego ecosystem, and so they're looking at a lot of you know, startups now, and I'm sort of like helping out on the side So I'll definitely be looking at a lot of little projects
Well,
here.
we used to,
Yeah.
we used to work with the design lab in
Mhm.
SF. So one
Yeah.
of the smart city project was in San Diego.
Mhm.
That when we were at AT&T, when I knew Jim prior to his retirement. So yeah, just reach out, you know, if there isn't anything, we're not going to waste your time. But I think that's kind of Jim. Every conversation I always have with Jim, even if it's to say hello, turns into something interesting, where he's like, oh, you know, oh yeah, you should talk to so-and-so. And that's really one of the things that we don't value is the network that you have. You don't even know. Like if you don't overthink it, you're like, oh, these 4 other people should nominate, you know, forward it. And then, you know, they could come in this fold. So I would really encourage you to reach out. And if someone isn't available, not just me, with anyone, Jim, if someone doesn't have time or isn't available, they can just say, you know, not now, or maybe in 2 weeks. But, you know, power of connection is so human in this world of AI, and we've got to keep it alive, because
Oh,
if we mechanize ourselves and our work and the communication, we've lost it. That one, we're not coming back. So yeah.
there's definitely lots of ways to go in the ditch, but there's a good way to say in the center too. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And let's just do the thumbs up here for another great session, and really appreciate it. We'll get this uploaded to our ISSIP YouTube, and all of you will get the link, so you'll have access to that. We'll get the slides uploaded, and we'll definitely include the links that Alka had. And yeah, so I'll stop the recording now and say have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Good meeting you all.
Bye.
Bye now. Okay. Let's see. Stop recording.